How would you like your bass drum to sound like this? Let me show you how I got this rocking sound. I'm gonna take you from sound source through outboard gear and show you exactly how this sound was constructed. Let's start with the sound source. I'm using a DW Collector's PurpleCore maple bass drum, 18 by 22. The pillows that it's shipped with are untouched. I am also using the stock batter side head on this. Now, while that head is slightly different from the Remo Power Stroke 3, the sound is almost exactly the same. For those interested, I'll have a link to the audio comparison of those two heads, along with some other useful information in the description below. I did change the Reso head, and once ported, it made a significant difference in the sound. It's maybe a little bit quieter, the bass drum's a little quieter as a result, but the sound quality coming out of it is much better. When miking the head on a ported bass drum head, I would say the sound is far less flabby than an unported head. Let's hear our first kick mic. This is going to be a Bayer Dynamic from their old Opus line, mounted inside of the kick. This sound source is going to be with the outboard gear, but no plugins. You can hear I'm getting a really polished sound from that track with a ton of attack. I'm running that microphone through a NEVE clone, a BAE 1028 model, although I could have gone away with a 1084. I'm using a boost, cut, boost approach with the EQ. I'm also using the high pass and low pass filters, just enough gain, and the output is turned down just slightly. From there, the signal is running into a Distressor in opto mode, and I'm using the high pass detector, not to be confused with the high pass filter, which would be off. Next up, I have an AKG D112 miking the Reso head. Usually I would use this microphone inside of the kick, but I wanted to try something different this time. When miking the outside of the head, the Reso head itself, try to put that microphone in the very center of the head because you'll get the most low end or the most punch in that position. Just make sure that you have the microphone back enough. That head is going to be moving and you don't want the head to hit the microphone. Now this microphone is running into an API preamp and then into another Distressor. Again, opto mode, high pass detection on, high pass filter is off. Now, both of the Distressors are set up so that they're reducing the same amount of gain. And I'm not afraid to use them. I'm taking out a good amount of gain. I'm trying to really control the amount of compression outboard since I've got good compressors and not doing that later on in the computer. Also, I'm running that API pretty hot. At peak, it's probably plus 14 or plus 16 dB. Last but not least is this behemoth, the DW Moon Mic. This is a sub-frequency microphone, so it only captures those very low frequencies. If you were listening just now on your phone, you may not have heard anything. But for your audience that has a good sound system, they'll end up with a much fuller sound as a result. You may remember from before when I was talking about that first mic, the one running through my NEVE EQ, I mentioned I was using a high pass filter. But why would I do that? Why would I want to get rid of the low end on a bass drum track? Well, there's two reasons. First, that mic, since it's inside the bass drum, I'm really trying to shape its sound so that I get the most attack or click. Two, I know I'm using this sub-frequency mic and I want to be able to have better control and a better sounding low sound in my mix. So I'm making space for that sub-frequency mic by using the high pass filter. The preamp for that Moon mic is probably not too important, but regardless, I'm running it through one of my APIs. No compression on that. But since I'm running the API so hot, I am having to go through a 20 dB pad at my interface before it gets into the computer. Let's hear these three mics again and then how they sound together. Now, of course, you can't just work out your bass drum sound in isolation, so let's now bring it into the full mix. This is important because the other microphones that you have are also going to pick up your bass drum, and they may do a poor job at it. They may get in the way of your direct signal. My overheads, these are Earthworks, and they are great at recording cymbals. But the bass drum, it's not really doing anything special for me. So you can see I've put EQ on this and I'm rolling off the low end at around the 100 Hz mark. My full mix also includes room mics in what's known as a mid-side configuration. Let's hear how the kick mics sound in the full mix. Okay, so we're getting a pretty good sound so far, and this is just from microphones, their position, outboard gear, and technically some EQ on the overheads, but no plugins yet on the bass drum. Next up, we're gonna make some magic happen in the box, and I'll make the video for that available right up here. Until next time, peace.